Hello, welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are top stories for today. ZAMFARA State House of Assembly resumes legislative and plenary activities. Workers of FUG have joined their counterparts nationwide on a 3-day protest. Federal government signs KANO-MARADI $1.9 billion railway line. On business, Pfizer announced the appointment of Patrick van der Loo as regional president for Africa and the Middle East region. On international scene, Vice President Pence to attend Biden's inauguration, and on sports, SPURS, Chelsea and Man City march into 4th round. Now the news in details. Full legislative and plenary sessions to resume at the ZAMFARA State House of Assembly at the expiration of 1 month recess as enshrined in the Section 104 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The lawmakers were on break for the last 1 month, which enabled them to consult widely with the people of their respective constituencies with the sole aim of presenting their different demands at the Hallyu Chamber of the State House of Assembly at the resumed sittings for deliberations and subsequent recommendations for possible implementation by the executive arm of government. While welcoming members to the Hallyu Chamber for full legislative function, the Speaker of the House, Alhaji Nasiru Ma'azu Magariya, urged his colleagues to be more proactive, diligent and purposeful representation in this 4th quarter of the 2nd season of their legislative responsibilities. Speaker Magariya also assured that more than any other time in the past, the 6th Assembly under his leadership will focus more on the task of lawmaking, robust and credible legislation that will change the fortune of the electorates that massively voted them to office. On the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic that is ravaging the country and the world at large, the state chief lawmaker said that members, management and staff of the House will strictly abide by all safety protocols and guidelines of COVID-19 pandemic on resumption of duty. A high-powered delegation of ZAMFARA state government led by the state acting governor, Barrister Mahadi Aliyu Wusau, has condoled the state Chief Judge Hajiya Kulu Aliyu over the death of her mother, late Hajiya Fatima Kalgu. Speaking at the condolence visit on behalf of the state governor, his government and people of ZAMFARA state, the state acting governor described late Hajiya Fatima Kalgu as a great mother and devout Muslim identified with total commitment to promoting good upbringing of her children. While condoling Kebbi state government and families of the deceased, the acting governor said her demise has created a big vacuum, much difficult to fill, and prayed Allah to grant her Al-Jannatul Firdaus and the families the fortitude to bear the loss. Responding on behalf of the families, ZAMFARA State Chief Judge Justice Kulu Aliyu, through her uncle, retired Permanent Secretary Labaran Muhammad Kalgu, expressed appreciation over the gesture of deep concern by ZAMFARA State government and its people through the Mahadi Aliyu-led delegation trip to Birnin Kebbi to condole its Kebbi state counterpart and families of late Hajiya Fatima Kalgu. Following the construction of new Shinkafi Police Area Command Office by the Forces Headquarters Abuja, the ZAMFARA State Commissioner of Police CP Habutu Yaro has on behalf of the Inspector General of Police IGP Mohammed A. Adamu commissioned the new Police Area Command Office in Shinkafi. While commissioning the project, the CP said that the project was part of the determination and commitment of the Inspector General of Police and the federal government to provide a conducive working environment for officers and men of the command so that they can discharge their mandate of safeguarding public safety, public peace and security. The CP called on officers and men of the area command to make judicious use of the office and infrastructures provided therein. He further enjoined the communities of the area and beyond to appreciate the gesture by supporting the police and other security agencies in their commitment to overcome the security challenges bedeviling the state. Non-teaching Staff and Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Federal University Gusau Chapter, under the aegis of the Joint Action Committee, have embarked on a protest over the government's handling of the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System (IPPIS) sharing formula of the 40 billion naira earned academic allowances and non-payment of arrears of the new minimum wage. The FUG workers joined their counterpart nationwide to demand for the resolution of some contentious issues. They include inconsistencies in IPPIS payment and the delay in the renegotiation of the Federal Government of Nigeria, Academic Staff Union of Universities, and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities 2009 agreement. For more details on this story, over to our correspondent, Abu Sufyan Abubakar.
Others were the non-payment of retirement benefits to former members, non-constitution of visitation panels to universities, poor funding of universities, teaching staff on springing and hardship of non-teaching units, among others. The FUG chairman of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, Comrade Mudassir Musa, told newsmen that protests followed an unfulfilled promise from the federal government on issues that include irregularities of IPPIS and unpaid allowances of its members. Comrade Mudassir Musa explained that some members of the two associations have not received their salaries since after enrolling in the IPPIS, which dated back to February 2020. The chairman further acknowledged that several steps have been taken to bring the federal government to the negotiation table, but the federal government failed to give them the necessary attention.
We are here to protest against a lot of things. Last time it happened, now we're here again. The SANU and the NASU, were in the negotiation with the federal government about things that concern its members. And the government promised a lot of things, promised to take care of those problems we had with them. And unfortunately, up till this moment, the promise has not been fulfilled. And that's why we came out to protest against that. We had the issue of IPPIS. We were called upon to join the IPPIS, that's all the universities, to join the IPPIS, which we did. Looking at, the system, we now joined the IPPIS so that things will flow well. But unfortunately, it came out to be a different thing. And that way makes us to go, and have discussion with the government. And unfortunately, up till this moment, those irregularities we saw in the IPPIS have not been resolved.
The aggrieved unions members were left with no option than to stage the protest to press home their demands, pointing out that more stringent measures will be taken by the association if the federal government refuses to listen to their request. Abu Sufyan Abubakar reporting for SVTV.
Co-Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, has advised fleet operators, commercial drivers, and private vehicle owners against taking night journeys. Mr. Oyeyemi, through a statement by the agency spokesperson, BZ Kazim, lamented rising cases of road traffic crashes and fatalities being recorded at night. The FRSC boss noted a January 5th fatal crash in Kaba, Kogi State, where two vehicles had a head-on collision. He said the accident was caused by one of the drivers sleeping on the wheel from fatigue. He said night trips are made dangerous by poor visibility, fatigue, sleeping on the wheel, and excessive speeding. Out of the 25 passengers on board the two vehicles, 8 were killed, while 17 sustained various injuries. The Nigerian military says at least 28 members of the Boko Haram were killed Saturday in Gujba, Yobe State, in an encounter while with soldiers. Military spokesman Brigadier General Bernard Onyeko said in a statement that one soldier was also killed in the encounter. The military spokesman said troops of the newly launched Operation Turata Kaibongo, a subsidiary operation of Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast, continued to obliterate elements of Boko Haram, Islamic State West Africa province criminals with uncommon ferocity. The latest encounter with the marauding Boko Haram criminals occurred on 9th January 2021 at Gujba local government area of Yobe State, where the gallant troops identified and encircled a Boko Haram criminals ambush site. The troops from Headquarter Sector 2, who were led by the Commander Sector 2 and later reinforced by troops from 27 TBBDE, Bunegari, and Special Forces Training School Buniyadi, tactically outmaneuvered the criminals and engaged them with superior firepower, resulting in high casualty on the terrorists. On the third and final day of Governor Babagana Umar Zulum's humanitarian trip to Damasak in the shores of Lake Chad, a total of 1,163 children of internally displaced persons were enrolled into primary school after the governor supervised the enrollment campaign. The pupils who hailed from Guzamala and Abadam local government areas in the northern Borno had been out of school since the displacement of their parents and guardians by Boko Haram following attacks on communities they lived. Governor Zulum appealed to parents to allow their children enrolled in schools, noting that where functional schools are provided by government, social welfare assistance from government will eventually be restricted to parents who allow their children and wards to attend schools, whether Western or combined curriculum of Islamic and Western education. The governor also addressed secondary school students in Damasak and those who have written their senior schools certificate exams in preparation for higher institutions. The governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, has accused workers protesting the non-payment of the 30,000 naira minimum wage of causing hardship on other residents by their actions. He stated this Sunday at the Armed Forces Remembrance Day church service at Kosin headquarters in Jos, the state capital. For about a month, the local government workers who have not benefited from the new minimum wage have taken to the streets. After the holidays, the workers resumed the protest on Monday at the state secretariat in Jos, but were violently dispersed by a combined team of security operatives. The operatives fired tear gas and brutalized some of the protesters in the process. Despite the repressive actions of the government, the workers continued their agitations, blocking roads and besieging the state secretariat. However, during his speech on Sunday, Mr. Lalong addressed issues regarding the workers' demonstrations, accusing protesters of mischief. The federal government has signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Motor Engel Group on the construction of $1.9 billion KANO-MARADI standard gauge railway lines. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, in a statement by Eric Ojikwe, Director of Press and Public Relations of the Ministry, said the project was aimed at linking the whole country by rail. Mr. Amechi signed the Memorandum of Understanding on behalf of the federal government, while the Managing Director, Motor Angel Antonio, signed on behalf of the contracting firm. According to the minister, the new railway corridor, which is to be located in northern Nigeria, will run through Kano, Jigawa and Katsina, and through Niger Republic as far as Maradi. He said other cities such as Dambata, Kazauri, Daura, Mashi, Katsina and Jibia would also be affected by the rail line in Nigeria. The federal government is considering shifting the resumption date of January 18th for schools over COVID-19 cases. The Minister of Education, Adamu, at a briefing on Monday in Abuja, said there are concerns about scheduled date. According to him, January 18th date of school reopening is not ideal. He said when they decided on that date, it was just a target towards what they were working on. The minister said even at the recent PTF meeting, they looked at the rising figures of COVID-19 in the country and thought about if they should probably take another look at it. Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has condemned the insecurity across Nigeria, saying the nation's sovereignty has been taken over by armed groups. He also said President Muhammadu Buhari needs to do more to stop Boko Haram terrorists, bandits and other criminal elements who threaten Nigeria's security. Professor Soyinka said the issue of security concerns even the lowest common citizens in this nation because that lowest, the most important individual, has become a prime target, so it is a collective issue. Let me quickly take you to our business desk for the business update.
Welcome to Business Desk. Pfizer has announced the appointment of Patrick Van Leeuw as Regional President for Africa and the Middle East region. Mr. Patrick's Pfizer experience spans more than 20 years in the leadership roles with multiple successes across geographies. In his new role as Regional President for Africa and Middle East, Patrick will lead commercial operations to bring scientific breakthroughs in vaccines, oncology, rare diseases, internal medicine, hospitals, and inflammation and immunology to serve patients. Still on business news, Dangote Cement plc has announced the completion of the first tranche of its share buyback program. According to a statement by the Deputy Company Secretary Edward, the commencement date was December 30, 2020, while completion date was December 31, 2020. Total number of shares repurchased was 40.20 million naira at an average price of 243 naira per share, representing 0.24% of the company's issued and fully paid ordinary shares, while total value of shares repurchased was 9.77 billion naira. Similarly, 2020 appears to be the year with the highest growth in the value of mutual fund assets in Nigeria. While the year 2020 will go down in the annals of history as one of the worst years in the history of mankind, it was not so bad for the Nigerian mutual fund industry. Interestingly, 2020 appears to be the year with the highest growth in the value of mutual fund assets in Nigeria. In a related development, Dangote Industries Limited ended trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Friday as the biggest loser, leaving its owner, Aliko Dangote, with a drop in net worth by $900 million. Bloomberg Billionaires Index, which ranks the first 500 richest people in the world, showed that his wealth fell from $18.4 billion on Thursday to $17.5 billion on Friday, taking him from 168th to 114th on the list of wealthiest people in the world. According to Bloomberg, the majority of Dangote's fortune is derived from his 86% stake in publicly traded Dangote Cement. He holds the shares in the company directly and through his conglomerate Dangote Industries. And that's all on Standard Voice Business Update. I am Musa Joy Onyoda. Thanks for watching, and back to the newsroom.
Thank you, Musa Joy. And on the international scene, a senior administrative official said U.S. Vice President Mike Pence will attend President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. Mr. Pence had refused to be blackmailed by President Donald Trump, who wanted him to reject the congressional certification of the electoral victory of Mr. Biden in the November 2020 election. Mr. Pence, as Senate President, presided over Senate certification of the Electoral College votes that handed Mr. Biden victory over Mr. Trump. The congressional certification came much more later, after the Capitol building had been secured by security operatives following a mob of Trump supporters who had earlier invaded the Capitol to prevent the lawmakers from sitting. In the ensuing violence that followed the invasion, 4 people died, with several injured, including police personnel. To prevent a further escalation of the crisis, a curfew was declared by the local police chief. Several of the perpetrators of the violence were also arrested. On sports, over to Abu Sufyan Abubakar.
Hello, welcome to Standard Voice Television Sports Room. I am Abu Sufyan Abubakar, and as usual, I bring the sports updates. Premier League heavyweights Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea and Manchester City all predictably secured big wins in their third round FA Cup ties on Sunday. Jose Mourinho's men were the biggest winners of the day as they pummeled their lower league opposition Marine with 5-0. With the likes of Harry Kane and Son Heung-min rested, Carlos Vinicius became the main man for Spurs, scoring his first hat-trick for the club in the 5-0 win. At Stamford Bridge, Chelsea ended a run of 3 straight games without a win with a convincing 4-0 win against lower league side Morecambe. Going into Sunday's tie, Chelsea had lost 2 and drawn 1 of their last 3 fixtures. However, the Blues got it right on Sunday with Mason Mount, Timo Werner, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Kai Havertz all scoring a goal each to fire their team into the next round of the competition. And that's all we have on sports today. Back to the newsroom.
Thank you, Sofian. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara State House of Assembly resumes legislative and plenary activities. Workers of Federal University Gusau have joined their counterparts nationwide on a 3-day protest. Federal government signs KANO-MARADI $1.9 billion railway line. On business, Pfizer announced the appointment of Patrick Vanderloo as regional president for Africa and the Middle East region. On international scene, Vice President Pence to attend Biden's inauguration. And on sports, Chelsea and Man City match into fourth round. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatuna, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.